Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The moment I saw the tiny white envelope tucked beneath the baby blanket, my entire body went cold. It felt like my soul stepped out of me and stared back in horror. I had only lifted the blanket to tuck in my daughter, to kiss her soft forehead, to whisper the love that guided every breath I took. Instead, I found a letter that burned away every piece of certainty I thought my life was built on. The handwriting belonged to the man I loved, the man I trusted, the man I believed had built this life with me. My husband, my partner, my safe place. As I unfolded the envelope, my fingers trembled so violently that I thought I would drop it. The words inside were short and quiet, but they screamed through me with a force that nearly knocked me to the floor. The baby is not yours. That was it. No apology. No explanation. No plea. Nothing. Just an explosion delivered in ink. The house turned silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. My heart pushed against my chest like it wanted to escape. I wanted to scream, but no sound came. All I could hear was the soft rhythmic breath of the child I had loved from the moment she existed. My child. That truth lived in me no matter what the letter claimed. But the world around me began to tilt. Memories spilled into my mind in sharp fragments. My husband coming home late for months. The way he avoided my eyes some mornings. My own quiet suspicion that I always silenced because I wanted to keep us whole. Because I loved him too much to believe he could break me. But now he had. I stormed into the living room, the letter crushed in my hand. He sat on the couch staring at the television without seeing it. When he looked up at me, guilt flashed across his face before he could hide it. His voice cracked. Tell me what you read. I held the letter up like a weapon. It fluttered in my shaking grip. Tell me this is some kind of sick joke. Please. Tell me you did not write this. Tell me it is not true. His shoulders fell. His silence became an answer sharper than any blade. He looked at our daughter's room and closed his eyes like he needed strength to speak. I made a mistake. The words crawled out of him, pathetic and lifeless. I stepped back as if his voice struck me. You cheated. He swallowed hard. I was lonely. You were tired all the time. I felt ignored. It was stupid. It was one night. I never thought she would end up pregnant. I never thought her child would be. He could not finish the sentence. But he did not have to. I felt my knees weaken. Betrayal poured through me like poison. Yet beneath the fury and grief lived something worse. I still loved him. Somehow impossibly, painfully I loved him. And that love made everything unbearable. I whispered, why did you let me believe she was mine? He whispered back, because you loved her so much. Because I loved how you loved her. Because I could not bring myself to take that away from you. His words shattered something inside me. I felt a scream rising from the core of my chest. A sound shaped by hurt and fear and humiliation. But instead of screaming at him, I walked past him and shut myself in the bedroom. I cried until I could not breathe. The next morning I packed a bag. I took nothing else. Not even a photograph. I stood in the doorway looking at the home we had built. The home that no longer belonged to me. He tried to stop me, his eyes wild with panic. Please, do not leave. We can fix this. We can talk to someone. We can be better. I shook my head. You broke something that can never be repaired. Every time I look at you, I see the truth you hid from me. Every time I look at her, I will wonder what else you are capable of hiding. I cannot live like that. Then I walked out. And for years I stayed gone. I built a new life. I cut my hair. I found work far from our old town. I told no one my past. I kept moving so I would not have to feel the ache of everything he destroyed. But at night I thought of her. The baby who once reached for me with tiny hands. The child whose cries I could soothe with a single touch. I wondered who she became without me. And I wondered if she remembered the sound of my voice. One rainy evening as I closed the small cafe where I now worked, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. And there he stood. He looked older. Tired. Haunted. But his eyes were the same. And standing beside him was a little girl with the same warm eyes she had when she first looked up at me from the hospital blanket. She held a drawing. It showed 3 people holding hands. She stepped closer and whispered, "Are you the woman from my dreams?" My breath caught. My husband whispered, "She has been asking about you for years. She remembers you. Maybe not with words, but with something deeper." The child reached for my hand, and in that moment, beneath the streetlight glow, I realized my life had begun again. Not the same, not healed, not perfect, but alive.